Welcome to the Deucecast movie show. That's right. We are here to record episode 493 of the Deucecast movie show. We are talking about the final summer films episode 2015 through 2019. So I thought it would be fun just to go live and not announce it. I'm that kind of guy. I love just going live and not announcing it. It's unadvertised. So if you happen to be seeing this, lucky you, you're hearing the episode of the Deucecast a little bit early. But we, of course, will be releasing this on Wednesday as our normal episode 493. I'm excited to be here. The Deucecast Extra Squad has taken over the Deucecast movie show. We decided, Dave has been working so hard behind the scenes for the Deucecast, and so I figured we could send him to Cancun. So that's what we did. We sent Dave to Cancun. He's on vacation. We used, the small budget that we have here at the Deucecast movie show and sent Dave on a plane to Cancun. He's on the beach. He's having fun. So, Garrison, how's it going, buddy? Welcome to the movie show.
It's good, but I'm honestly kind of sad that there's no made-up city being thrown my way.
Sorry.
When I'm being
I'm not Dave. That's his shtick. I can't do that. So Garrison, welcome. And of course, we've got the Twitterless Dr. Earl. He was prepared to just be recording the Deucecast movie show just like we normally do on Zoom. I don't even bother with Zoom. StreamYard's way better. We're live. It's fantastic. Welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you, Michael. I'm missing Dave, but I know he needs a break. Yeah. He tirelessly works to create the perfect product for our Wednesday releases, and so we said this week go to Cancun, take a break. It's all expenses paid.
Well, that's right. That's on us. On us. For him, it's all expenses paid. Well, but we're paying for it. But I mean,
I would have put on a tuxedo if I had known.
I know. I didn't give you guys a heads up.
Like that, I didn't clean myself up. I'm not dressed.
Well, that's what I mean. I actually took a shower today and shaved. So I was like, you know what? Let's go live. I cleaned up a little bit. I was like, let's do this thing live just for the diehard fans. Like I said, I didn't advertise that we were doing this. I see that we've got like a couple people watching, and that's fine. That's all we need. I know Brian's out there watching, and he's like, I have never even heard the Deucecast movie show. Brian just hangs out on the extra. That's fine. That's our TV wing. And now we're here for some movies, and we've been doing this fantastic summer movies. We've been doing the summer movies all summer long.
Welcome,
and we're going to end. Look, we're going to end with a 5-year block.
Yes.
That I'm going to throw this out there. I think this is my favorite 5-year block out of all the years that we've done. I mean, there are some heavy hitters. Yes, there are.
I had trouble with this one.
No way.
I thought it was a crappy 5 years.
Personally. No, I have a probably the biggest list. Like since we did the 80s. I've got like the biggest list.
Well, that's true. I have a big list. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good movies. Like I was talking to Garrison offline. There's some awesome independent films that came out during this 5 years. There's some comedies, some really good comedies that came out in this 5 years. And then, of course, we had a bunch of the action adventure superhero stuff that came out. It's a good 5 years, right?
It's a good 5 years. Hey, everybody in the comments section, thanks for your contribution. So if you'll send $10 to the Deucecast movie show,
that's right.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We do charge on the weekends, so thank you.
I have to agree with Earl's point, though. When I first created my list for this 5-year block, the first time I did it, and I told you off air after the extra last week that I lost that list. I threw it away. I initially had a list that wasn't that impressive, and I felt like I was going to struggle to create something. And then that night, I sat there at the computer, and I just started going through the list of movies again, and I went, wow, this is a lot better than I remembered.
Yeah.
And I put together an actual impressive list, in my opinion. So
it's certainly better than like
list, I will say.
Yeah, no, I do too. I mean, it's certainly better than like what we've done the past 3 weeks as far as, summer movies, 5 years. So it's been, for me, it's a good list. I had fun doing this list. But what I wanted to do first, before we dive into our actual subject matter.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Before you go where you're going, can you tell some of the chat people what so there was a question about what 5 years, what list?
They'll figure that out. I'm not worried about that. They'll figure that out.
Wow. No,
we're recording the Deucecast movie show here. I don't care about what's going on in the chat. We're here to
no
just
exposition whatsoever.
We're talking. No, they'll figure it out. Garrison put it in the chat. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about since we all three
summer movies.
Yeah, we're doing summer movies, but we all three saw the Suicide Squad. Speaking of summer movies, we all went and saw James Gunn's Suicide version of the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad. I saw it at home just for reasons we don't have to go into.
Man, not the way to do it.
I know. And you guys saw it in theaters, which is the preferred method, obviously.
Yes.
What did we think? Garrison, what did you think of it, man?
Well, initially when the advertising campaign started for the Suicide Squad, that Red Band trailer came out on the internet, and I was not impressed with the Red Band trailer. A Green Band trailer came on the internet not long after. I thought it was a little bit better, but every kind of advertisement I saw for this film, this may be unpopular to say, but I was really not that impressed.
No,
and I'm a big fan of James Gunn's work so far. I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy films. My dad loves Super, so this household, we really like some of James Gunn's past work, so I was willing to give it a shot. So yes, this Thursday I went into my big screen theater, hometown theater, not super packed, which is fine, and I had a lot more fun with that film than I thought I was going to have. It was hilarious. It was a bit ultra violent, but I'm normally not a huge fan of gore, but it works in this movie. It's a bit cartoony. I had a lot of fun. That's kind of what I came out of that movie theater feeling like I had the most fun at the movies in a long time, maybe since Endgame. And that's the kind of feeling I want to feel after I come out of a movie. I mean, I love some deep thinking movies, like Green Knight and stuff like that, where you come out of it and you're like, oh, you're pondering some certain things about the film. But there are some films I just want to come out and just have a high, this feeling of just, that was awesome.
A former co-host of the Deucecast movie show, a person by the name of Pinky, describes that as brain candy.
Yes.
I think that is, appropriate for this film.
Yes. If this is up for the Brain Candy Award at the Deuceys, I will likely vote for it unless something else comes out.
Yeah. Dr. Earl, and remember, we're doing spoiler free. I mean, we don't want to spoil it. Yeah. So just high level thoughts. I mean, what did you think of it?
I mean, I agree with what Garrison said. I wasn't overly excited about it. Now, I knew that James Gunn was going to be involved, so I mean that did give me some interest. I thought I knew from the trailers where it was going, I guess, perhaps, and I felt like it took it so much further and beyond what I was expecting. It is a lot of fun. I do think probably the gore factor, I mean, I think they just let Gunn have free reign in this.
Pretty much. It sounds like from sorry to interrupt, but it sounds like from some of the interviews that Walter Hamada has been doing, he really likes James Gunn and wants to let James Gunn just do whatever he wants to whenever he wants to.
I mean, this was a lot like, it seemed more like, it was like if you took Suicide Squad and Super and smashed them together, because Super is pretty violent. And pretty,
it is, yeah.
As Rhett said, subversive. So, I mean, he made a hard R superhero movie. This is not, don't turn on HBO Max thinking, hey, this is great. It's a superhero for the kids. It's like maybe a little bit of Saving Private Ryan mixed in as well. So it's pretty intensely gory. But a lot of fun, and it has some heart to it. I think it had a lot more heart than the original Suicide Squad. Yes. And so I enjoyed it. There's certain sectors of my friend zones that I will not recommend it for, because they would never, they would walk out screaming, or run out screaming. But I enjoyed it. What about you, Mike?
I certainly agree. Obviously my experience was a little bit different because I was at the house. I paused it a couple times to do something else. And so a little bit different. And that's to me the huge problem about watching things at the house. You feel like you can just pause it and do whatever you need to do and come back to it. And to me, that's not fair to the film. And the tendency is just there to do that when you're watching it at home. That's why I prefer the theatrical experience.
Yeah, it's straight ahead. Straight ahead.
Yeah, much more than watching it at home, just because you obviously don't have that freedom to pause it whenever you want to. And so it took me a minute to get into it. I do like the setup, the kind of way that they did things was very cool. And again, no spoilers, but I love the setup of it.
Yes.
I love the unexpectedness of some of the things that happen quickly. Yes. So that was good for me as well. And it was a movie that I was looking forward to. I mean, obviously this is very different than what a David Ayer did with this group of characters.
Yes.
David Ayer in general is not a comedic director, although he has some comedy every once in a while in some of his movies, but for the most part, very serious. He wants to be as serious as he possibly can. And I think that's this supposed Ayer cut that might be out there. I think that would be a much more violent and serious film than what James Gunn has done with these characters, which with these particular characters, I think they lend themselves more to being sort of aloof and funny than super serious. I just think, with these type of characters, I think that works better than, King Shark, you don't want to make that super serious, right? I mean, and it's genius.
You want Sylvester Stallone to play him.
Exactly. It's genius having Sylvester Stallone voice that character. I mean,
well, I will say that I've seen King Shark in other iterations where he's like a gangster and intelligent. So I guess this version of his was played for the laugh. I mean, let's
played for the, and that's James Gunn also. I mean, he's just going to be that way. He's going to inject humor into his films, also surrounded by uber violence if they let him. Obviously Marvel doesn't let him go too far. I mean, his films with Marvel are going to be PG-13. They're not going to be rated R, but hey, credit to DC. They're kind of just letting him do what he wants to.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Hey,
I think it's a brilliant thing.
Hey, Deucecast super fan Rhett Barnett had a good point in saying that Viola Davis,
she's good,
played the heck out of Amanda Waller.
Yeah, she's good. No, I like.
She was amazing in it. I love her iteration.
She's very good.
Also, shout out to James Gunn on the technical aspect of the film.
Yes.
There is not just some of the great things he did with the camera, but he actually released the film across the country in every single theater in 1:9 aspect ratio, which is the digital IMAX aspect ratio, which means you didn't have to go to an IMAX theater to see it in that aspect ratio.
Really?
Wow.
So my theater actually got to project and masked up for it. It was awesome because I had heard a rumor that was the case, and you'll notice on the TV it looks a little tiny bit smaller than 1:8.5.
Yeah,
and that is why it looks like that, because that is actually the IMAX aspect ratio.
That's really cool.
And I guess maybe he didn't sign the contracts that other people have to sign for that to only be in those theaters or what. But
maybe, who knows?
I was very happy with that.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, obviously, you can get some of that with, I think, what is it, the Fandango version of Spider-Man.
You need to go back and see it you need to see it at the IMAX. It's just...
I know. I need to. I will.
The scene of the team walking forward in the rain was just...
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin anything, but I started laughing when someone else appeared on that screen in that scene.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, I just think that, and that's what I want to say about the Suicide Squad. It has really great rewatchability to it. Like after I finished watching that, I was like, in my mind, I was like, I need to go see this in IMAX. I mean, I want to watch this again in IMAX. And with the way this summer has gone, there's not really much else to watch anyways. So I'll probably go see it again.
You need to see it again in the big screen.
I've got to, not to take have that take over everything, but I haven't been impressed with every summer movie that's come out so far. And the Suicide Squad is the first one to actually go over my expectations for the film. I think The Green Knight met my expectations for the film because I was really excited about that one. But
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen The Green Knight yet, but I've heard that it's very good, but it's very much an A24 version of that story.
Oh yeah.
The pretentious corner was pleased with that Green Knight.
We were pleased.
So and joking around with Rhett there, I mean, Pig, I really enjoyed Pig, and that's one you don't necessarily have to see at a theater, but man, I mean, that was a heck of a movie also. So there's a many reflections. We could of course talk about the Suicide Squad for hours, but we want to keep this concise. We want to jump into our subject matter here, which like I said, we've been doing this summer movie series, and it's really just made it easier, behind the scenes. It's made it easier on the hosts to know what your subject matter is going to be throughout the summer. It's made it a lot easier on me. And we're wrapping it up here with 2015 through 2019. Now, the much maligned version of what we have said our summer is, which, someone's dad may have broken that rule that's on this episode tonight. But we had said that Scott.
Wasn't it close?
It was close. He did the Phantom Menace, which did not come out Memorial Day weekend. So our version of the summer,
19th.
Yeah, it was like the weekend before.
It was
so our version of the summer that we have done is Memorial Day through Labor Day. And of course, Scott had to come on, and it just put Dave in such a tizzy, which was maybe the intention. I don't know. I don't know what the intention was, but he got to talk about the Phantom Menace, which is fine. I will never begrudge anyone for talking about anything Star Wars. So it worked for me.
He told me to try to work in Force Awakens.
I know. No. I'm sure that there was some behind the scenes.
Wait, Scott breaking the rules?
Yeah. Scott broke the rules.
I bet David went nuts.
Oh yeah, no. On the episode, David likes calling out the guest on the episode. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Why are you calling him out on Labor Day?
It's got to be Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we can have a discussion about that, but yes.
Fetmatic in the house.
Yeah, Fetmatic, what's up, buddy? Let's just jump into this list. I mean, summer movies, Memorial Day to Labor Day, 2015 through 2019. Garrison, what is your number 5, buddy?
Okay. Well, this one is one that was in kind of production for a while, pre-production for a while. It had a script penned by an auteur in 2003. This auteur went on for like a decade to be attached to the project. I am, of course, talking about Edgar Wright, who penned the script for this movie originally.
Oh, yes.
If you know where I'm going at this point, summer of 2015, July 17th, 2015, AntMan came out.
Yes.
And I was deciding between some Marvel movies for this number 5. There's, of course, Far From Home in this area. Well, you know what? Let me stop naming them just in case you guys want to go there. But I decided on AntMan because though I know a lot of people that don't like it because of the Edgar Wright situation, and I know some people that don't necessarily care for the movies, I love these films. Paul Rudd is a national treasure as Scott Lang. He's one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and his role in Endgame made me so happy. His role in Civil War made me so happy. Luis is also a national treasure. Michael Pena as Luis. David Desmalchian, however you say his name. He's also in the Suicide Squad.
Great in the Suicide Squad. Great.
Yes, he's great as Kurt in this. Corey Stoll is supposed to be rumored to be returning potentially in the next Ant-Man film somehow. And he was introduced in this movie. I saw this in Atlanta with my uncle and my family. We were there for a family vacation, and we just had so much fun in the theater watching this movie. I every time I rewatch this movie, it flashes me back to that moment. I continue to have a lot of fun with that movie. And yes, every time Paul Rudd goes on Conan for something, I absolutely love it. I remember the lead up to the film for Ant-Man. This is something that Rhett mentioned in the comments for the people listening on the podcast feed. But I remember the lead up to that film. Paul Rudd went on Conan for that film, and it kills me every time he shows the scene of Mac and me on Conan.
Oh yeah,
and I love that he got to do it one last time.
It's a classic bit. One last he did do it one, and even went into explaining it a little bit. And yeah, so it's great. It was. I love choice.
That there is a Blu-ray copy of Mac and Me out nowadays, and I love that they still use the 4:3 like pan and scan VHS
because why not?
version of the clip.
Really?
Yeah. Because why not? I mean, if you're Mac and Me, you've got to have some recognition of the pop culture phenomenon it became with the Paul Rudd and Conan. So making it 4:3 pan and scan is perfect.
in the future Marvel movies, I would like more Luis breakdowns. I would like more of those.
Oh yeah, those are hilarious whenever that particular character breaks that down. Yeah, great pick for number 5. Obviously I've got a huge list that I'm going to pull from, and that's on the list. But I loved AntMan. It's one, and it's one that my daughter really liked. Also, we did the big Marvel watch over the summer, and she loves that character. Loves Paul Rudd.
He's so great.
Thinks Luis is hilarious. So, part of me wonders. I'll always wonder, like, what would Edgar Wright's version have been?
Yeah.
Because I like him a lot as a director, so I would have been interested to see that.
I think the issue is he wrote the script in 2003, and then he got signed in 2006 to do the movie for Marvel Studios, and then got into pre-production in 2013. I mean, he was still on it in 2014.
Oh yeah.
That's really close to shooting. He was very close to shooting the film.
Mm-hmm.
And a month after he resigns, they get Peyton Reed in and they shoot the film. But I think it was just kind of the case of they had created this universe by then, and his script just didn't fit within that universe. I think that's really what happened. And they wanted him to make changes, and he didn't want to make those changes.
He didn't want to do it.
Yeah. And I also would love to see what Edgar Wright would have done. It's kind of like that Zack Snyder situation, sort of.
Yeah.
Except I would be a little more excited to see Edgar Wright's Ant-Man. Just personally.
I would have too. I mean, I think, and it's a bummer that relationship got severed in that way, because who knows, maybe Kevin Feige and Edgar Wright can work it out, and he'll eventually do something else with Marvel.
I would love to see that.
I think
Doctor Strange,
he's like such a talented director, or just like a character we might not have seen yet. I mean,
Eternals 2.
I mean, exactly. Eternals 2. Good grief. So Twitterless Dr. Earl, what is your number 5?
Well, my number 5 will probably make David very happy, because he probably would have said this movie. There is a writer-director who came on the scene probably during this 5 years. We know him well, Taylor Sheridan.
Yes.
Very strong director. And he made a movie about a hunter tracker who lives in, out in the West, who had to sort of investigate a murder along with an FBI agent. I'm talking about 2017's Wind River. That came out August 4th, 2017. I actually did not see this in the theater. I think David did. Jeremy Renner plays this guy named Corey Lambert. I'm pretty sure it's set in, it's saying Wyoming, on a Indian reservation. Yeah. In the middle of the deep winter. They find a body. There's an investigation. Elizabeth Olsen shows up as sort of the FBI agent, doing a great job. This is probably the first time I really realized, wow, she's a really solid actor. I'm pretty sure I saw this on streaming, but if you haven't seen it, it's very well done. Taylor Sheridan's a great writer. There's a lot of suspense. There's a cameo by, stupid. Nah, I just lost it. There we go. Wait a minute. Well, you got Graham Greene.
John Berthnall's in it.
John Berthnall. That's what I was trying to get to. Gil Birmingham's in it, of course, for Taylor Sheridan fans. So those who've seen Yellowstone understand about Taylor Sheridan, because he's the writer-director for that show as well. Great movie. 2017 came out in the summertime. Probably didn't make a big splash at the box office, but I really liked it in retrospect, watching it later. So
Nice.
That's my number 5. David. Sorry. I always go to David because he's running the thing. Mikey.
Well, Ryfin, did you have something you want to say about Wind River?
If we were going to have a discussion, I was going to say, sorry to say that is one of the few Taylor Sheridan movies I still haven't seen.
Yeah.
There's like Vile and that, and then I haven't seen Yellowstone, but that's about it.
Yeah,
you got to correct all of
that.
Good
one.
Yeah.
Well, Wind River's good. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, no, it's very good. So I am going to talk about a movie that came out in the summer of 2015. So I think it was in June 19th of 2015. It's got Star Wars ties. It's got Marvel ties. It's got DC ties. And that's just from the director and the actors. But I am going to talk about a film written and directed by Rick Famuyiwa called Dope. I absolutely love Dope.
Yes.
Starring Shameik Moore, who is Miles Morales in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's got Tony Revolori, who is Flash in the Spider-Man films. And then Kiersey Clemons, who is in Zack Snyder's The Justice League. She is the gal pal to the Flash.
She's Iris.
Yeah, she's Iris in those films. So yeah, a lot of, and these were first time roles for all of these actors. So think of them as sort of like breakout star. These were the breakout role, or this movie was the movie that broke all of these actors out, basically. Shameik Moore, went on, has gone on to do some great things. Tony Revolori, I think, is hilarious in the Spider-Man films. He's a great Flash in those. And then Kiersey Clemons, we haven't gotten to see much of her, but I've heard she's in the new one. So I've heard that she's going to have a bigger role in the new. Yeah, I've heard Iris is going to have a bigger role in the upcoming film. That is the rumor. So yeah, the story,
everyone's in that film, but
it's pretty much in a way a coming of age type of movie where these sort of, and it's funny because you've sort of got these characters that you don't see much in this type of film because they're growing up in a rough part of town, but they're kind of like geeky. They have a band and they're kind of like geeky. They haven't really gotten pulled into that underworld that can easily be tempting in the projects or whatever, but they do get pulled into that by accident. There's like a drug deal that's gone wrong, and then it's sort of like a trip through LA, just sort of like a coming of age thing, and it's just really well done. I mean, obviously this is an independent film. Rick Famuyiwa wrote and directed it, which obviously his Star Wars ties. He has directed some of the best episodes of The Mandalorian. I've heard he is going to be directing at least one of the new season that's coming out, at the end or next year. And so
he directed, he probably wrote it too. He
usually gets to write and direct, which is odd because mostly it's of course Favreau. And it's cool that Famuyiwa is getting to write and direct a lot of those Mandalorian episodes, but this was kind of like his first big break. And if you haven't seen Dope, it's a really great movie. I highly recommend it. I didn't, check to see where it was. David usually does all that stuff, but he's not here. I know you can obviously rent it though. It's usually like $3.99 to rent stuff online. I recommend watching Dope. It's very good.
Mikey, it's on Prime Video right now, but to rent or buy for $3.99.
Yeah, $3.99 exactly. So
yeah, it's all renting and buying.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's worth it. I think it's worth watching. It's a cool little movie, and you kind of get to see Shameik Moore, Tony Revolori, Kiersey Clemons, like kind of like their first big breakout roles, because it's those three are kind of like a group hanging out together for a lot of the movie. Have you guys seen Dope before?
I haven't.
Okay. Dr. Earl, you've seen it.
Yeah, it's on my list. I'll talk about it again in a little bit.
Oh, my bad. Wow, it's up there on your list then. I like that.
That's
I had to throw this on number 5. I mean, so yeah, it's very, very worth watching. I would recommend it, and I like the music in it too. A lot of Pharrell Williams is one of the executive producers, and so you can tell that he might have wrote some of the songs that they perform in the movie, and there's some good songs in that movie for the band that they have formed or whatever. So Garrison, what is your number 4?
Well, for number 4, I still choosing between two films. I wrote out 2 different scripts, not really scripts, but little bullet points here or there for both of them. And I guess I'm going to have to choose one. I'm going to go with, they were released like 4 days apart, 5 days apart. I'm going to go with 2018, August 29th, 2018's Operation Finale.
Oh, yeah.
This
Interesting choice.
Good film.
This is Oscar Isaac in a fantastically acted role, playing a Mossad agent who's tracking down the brain behind the Holocaust, Adolf Eichmann, and they are tracking him down to put him on trial in Israel. It is a really powerful movie. If you watch it, I mean, it is very emotionally charged in a lot of aspects. I was surprised by it. I watched it pretty much purely for Oscar Isaac, but there's some other actors in it in there too. Nick Kroll really surprised me. He's a guy who I watch on a lot of really goofy Comedy Central kind of stuff. He turns in a pretty good performance. The guy who plays Adolf Eichmann is Bing Kingsley, who has also been in the MCU. And I'm crossing my fingers that maybe he makes a reappearance soon.
I would love it. I would love it.
And you've also got Haley Lou Richardson in there, who has come up a lot in a lot of castings for, superhero films lately. Though apparently she's turned some of them down, so that's been a little surprising to me.
Interesting.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It was kind of a surprise of 2018 for me. Have you guys seen the film? Seemed like
I've seen
reacted.
it.
I have not. I have
Okay.
not.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac is really good in that, and I get that mixed up with what's the other one called? Where they try to take this Nazi and anyway, I can't remember the name of the other one, but yeah, I thought it was really, really well done. So good call, Garrison.
Yeah, it's really powerful too. They start showing the footage at the end of the actual trial of the guy. Spoiler alert, actual history. The guy gets caught.
Right, exactly.
They start
Can't
showing
spoil actual history.
Yeah, they start showing footage of the trial of him being actually put on trial in Israel, and it's a really powerful.
Ben Kingsley's really good in that. I remember.
Yes, he is.
Of course,
he's always not good.
Of course,
Ben Kingsley's good in everything, really.
Of course, it's a story of a Nazi who's fled to Argentina, which is where
Mossad is hunting him down.
Yep. And this is actually streaming on Netflix. I just looked it up for you. So there you go. If anyone wants to check it out, it is on Netflix. I don't think it's that long either.
I like it.
Yeah, 2 hours and 2 minutes. So it's not super long, but yeah. Earl.
Yeah. So my number 4, I was like you, Garrison. I was like, I want to get some representation of Marvel on there. And I kind of was struggling between a couple. And, I sort of landed on Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really like that one maybe a little more than the first one. Now, I know that's probably not my usual pattern, but I like the addition of Walton Goggins, sort of the expanded role of Luis and the team. You get a little more of Dalmatian as, that whole Baba Yaga, they're all nervous.
Yeah. That's
and then you get Randall Park in there, sort of doing this comedic thing. And so, and I really liked the Evangeline Lilly's sort of step up as the Wasp and some of the character fighting in that. And so I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the original. I will say that. But I think for some reason that one I think maybe because of Randall Park and Walton Goggins, it pushed me a little bit over the top. And so I enjoyed the, going into the quantum realm. And so I don't know. All of that was very interesting. So my number 4 is a Marvel representation. Yes. Spider-Man Homecoming was super close. I almost slid up there.
That was what I was choosing between Ant-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, because I love that too. But I'm gonna stick with the Ant-Man and the Wasp. But a lot of fun, good movie. Mikey, show it to your daughter. I think it's okay.
Oh yeah, she's seen all of them. Yeah, she's seen all the Marvel movies. Yeah, she's caught up now.
Okay. I loved it because that was a couple months after Infinity War, which is not able to make it on these lists, and we could talk about that maybe later.
Right.
But it was just this light break. It wasn't super serious, but it was a lot of fun. There's some great scenes. The truth serum stuff in that movie is really funny with that little loop, the gag between the guy who's about to inject him, and then when he gets injected, it is truth serum.
Yes. And the ghost was cool. The ghost
is cool.
It's a cool character that I think we're going to see again.
I hope so.
I think we'll see that character again. I don't think we're done with that character. Yeah.
The introduction of was it Black Goliath, basically? That was a comic character.
Lawrence Fishburne, right?
Yeah, Fishburne, who kind of heel turns on him.
Interesting. I don't think I realized he was a character.
He mentions like I hit a certain height, and then Paul Rudd says I went that tall, and
that's right. They were going through the whole
Evangeline.
I just didn't know that was an actual comic book character. I just thought it was. They were talking about their size.
Yeah,
Mikey, what's your number 4?
Well, my number 4, I'm going to speak about a classic summer movie trope, like the disaster film. I love the disaster film. It's a lot of the summer films are disaster films. That was more of a thing like in maybe the 80s or 90s that sort of has gone out of style, but there is an actor who has done a great job of bringing those back into the zeitgeist, and that is one Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, in a big, dumb, fun action film called Skyscraper. I got a kick out of just the scope of the film. First of all, I mean, he's playing a security expert who's going to consult for this skyscraper, and of course there's criminals inside that capture his family, and he has to save his family. This is the second team up between him and the writer director Roston Marshall Thurber. He did Central Intelligence with him previously, and next, huge film for Netflix, Red Notice, is coming out later this year. Will be the third film with Roston Marshall Thurber written and directed. The Rock really likes working with this guy. They have a really good collaboration. And so it was a movie I had a lot of fun with. It's stupid, it's dumb, but it's The Rock being The Rock, creating havoc, saving his family. It's your typical summer film. It's a good summer film.
It's a summer film.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. And I think in in just the way that we're talking about summer films here, even though I talked about Dope or whatever, but I mean, I think this is the epitome of like what a summer movie should be. You just go in and like brain candy, you stare at it. You don't have to think about what you're watching, and lots of explosions, lots of action. Neve Campbell as his wife. I mean, come on, can't go wrong with Neve Campbell. And it's fun. It was just fun, and I like this team up. I like this director and Dwayne Johnson working together. I think Red Notice is going to be big. That's Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and Dwayne Johnson.
And that's on Netflix.
That's going to be a Netflix film coming out later this year. It's going to be fun. I think expect big things. Netflix put a lot of money into the budget on this thing.
So it's only Netflix, or
direct to Netflix.
Wow.
I'm sure it'll play in big markets somewhere.
Yeah, maybe like New York, LA, Atlanta. Like maybe you can go see it at a theater, because Netflix has been peppering that in.
Yeah, I was about to say, weirdly, I did get Hillbilly Elegy at my theaters. I didn't go see it then, but it did come. So
Netflix has changed their tune a little bit on that, but it's not going to be a wide release by any means, because they obviously want subscribers. They want people coming to Netflix to watch this thing.
Yeah,
and I think it'll be big. I think those three together and this director. It's going to be a good movie. I'm looking forward to it.
I got to say, I never saw Skyscraper.
I
saw the trailers for it for like every movie that summer and went.
It's so dumb and fun.
Dad and I would just be like, okay, so Die Hard, but with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It's kind of what it looked like.
And it is. I mean, it's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Earl, you probably never saw it either, did you?
No, there's no chance of that.
That's great.
I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Dr.
That's too great.
The pretentious corner will not be swayed by such
The pretentious corner will never see a movie called Skyscraper. That's, I feel you, man.
No,
Garrison,
I might. You never know.
That's fun.
Unless it's Terrence Malick's Skyscraper.
Terrence Malick's Skyscraper. Yeah, exactly. Garrison, what is your number 3?
Well, this is another one where I was deciding between a couple, and but thankfully, the couple, one of them can't be used. Nice Guys came out on May 20th, 2016. Now, here's the thing.
Wait, we get a Rifen on here, and they're trying to break the rules again. What's going on?
Always breaking the rules.
Wait a minute. Let me explain to you why I'm not going to use it. But why it should be used.
It's a great movie.
This is a film that was supposed to come out July 17th, 2016, but was pushed because of Central Intelligence to May.
Okay.
Wow.
So, in every other country it came out in, besides like a couple countries in America, it came out in June and July.
All right, that's pretty fair.
But in America,
luckily we live in America.
20th. It came out a week before Memorial Day. So I'm not going to use that movie, though I would recommend people watch that movie if they haven't watched it. It's a very fun buddy cop.
I feel you. All right.
I picked another comedy instead that I know Mikey did not give an amazing rating to, but I really, really enjoyed when I watched it. It is from 2016 as well. Same summer. I picked this up at a $5 bin at Best Buy on Blu-ray. I did not see it in theaters. I remember going, that trailer doesn't look that great. I'll just watch it later on streaming. I found it at Best Buy. I picked it up. I watched it when I got home. That is Pop Star Never Stop Stopping.
Wow.
That makes your list?
Never Stop, Never Stopping. Yes. Oh, yes. Look, I grew up with Lonely Island. That group on SNL,
yes,
were probably the funniest things on SNL to me as a child.
At the time, you're right.
Their digital shorts were really fun, and their music was a lot of fun as well. So when I finally got to see this film, it's a mockumentary style film. It's got a lot of stars coming in and saying that they were inspired by this band, the Style Boys, that doesn't exist. It's hilarious because their music is just stupid. But you've got guys like 50 Cent and Nas and all these greats of their genres saying that they were inspired by them. Mariah Carey talking about how much she was inspired by them. There is a fantastic there's fantastic cameos throughout. Seal is great in the film. Michael Bolton pops up at the end, of course, because you can't do Lonely Island without Michael Bolton at this point.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
it's so much fun. And I got to tell you, I had a lot of fun. And then I invited a friend over and I put it on and we just died laughing the entire night, to the point that we had to pause the film and rewind it because we had to listen to the jokes again. It was that much fun to us. But yeah, not a pretentious pick, but
no,
a lot of fun.
I would watch this over Skyscraper, though.
Oh, man. Dude.
Sandberg, man. Andy Samberg.
Yes.
How harsh.
And, Lonely Island I think there was like a Lonely Island produced or something. They put out Palm Springs last year.
That's right.
Yeah, it was like a produced by, those guys worked on it together, and that was a good comedy for sure.
Yeah.
Dr. Earl, you're number 3, sir.
So originally I was going to have Dope, but I'm gonna move Dope out of the list. Although I still love it, it's in my honorable mentions now. But Michael, you did such a good breakdown on it. I thought I would go a different direction. There was a movie that came out June 5th, 2015, which kind of surprised me, is how good it was. It starred John Cusack, Paul Dano, Elizabeth Banks, Paul Giamatti. Basically, it was the story of the Beach Boys' Brian Wilson, sort of told in 2 eras. Basically about how he sort of was this heavy, overweight guy, sort of really almost held prison by this doctor who was supposed to be helping him, and sort of how he got out of that lifestyle and sort of met this woman to have love. And then the other half of the story is Paul Dano, sort of how he created sort of the Pet Sounds soundtrack, I guess. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I probably, just because I'm always interested in like how great records are produced, I think I enjoyed the Paul Dano section a little better. But I mean, John Cusack's always a joy, and their relationship was pretty amazing. So Love and Mercy, it's right now on Hulu, and
well, here's what. Yeah, I actually saw that one in the theater, just because there was a lot of buzz around it.
I think we saw it together, did we?
Yeah, we may have seen it together, and it was neat to see, or I'll say this: it was neat to be reminded how good John Cusack can be, because for really years the guy's just been doing paycheck movies after paycheck movies, like really not very engaged in what he's doing. Yes. But with Love and Mercy, you were very much reminded about how talented of an actor he is. Yes. And I really loved his portrayal of Brian Wilson in that. I think I'm with you. I think Paul Dano's was a little bit more entertaining, and there was just obviously a younger version of Brian Wilson's going to be more entertaining than the older version of Brian Wilson. So, but I just think that those two together was a really smart choice. Those two actors together, and I'm very much looking forward to Paul Dano in the Batman. He is probably gonna. He is
if they release it.
Oh, it'll come out. But
it'll come out sometime.
That trailer. We were talking about trailers earlier.
That showed up in front of the Suicide Squad, by the way, in the theaters. That was awesome.
The trailer did?
The Batman trailer?
Not here. No,
not here.
Not here.
My theater did.
Oh wow!
It was awesome.
Wait, the old one or a new?
The old one, yeah.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
It's actually new for theaters. They rated it for theaters because I saw the company that does that. I saw it went through them a couple days before the Suicide Squad came out, and then
it just dawned on me. I have never seen that trailer in a theater, so I've only seen obviously the one they released online.
It's it's the same one, but the sound is obviously better when you're in a theater.
If you put there's like two bands that if you put in a trailer, I'm obsessed with the movie automatically, and that's Nirvana and Radiohead. If you put The Accountant, hello. If you put a Radiohead song in a trailer for a movie, I'm obsessed with the movie, and Nirvana is one of those, because it doesn't happen often. It does not happen often, and when it does happen, it's very like visceral. It's like, whoa, it's one of that trailer I watched over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And
hear that, Burgess? Put Nirvana in the Don't Die trailer.
Yeah, I mean, if Burgess puts Nirvana song, if he can get if he can get the rights to putting a Nirvana song in the Don't Die trailer, I'm in. I'm very much in.
Is that what it's called? Right?
Don't die. Yeah, right. I think something like that. Whatever. It's a plug for a Burgess. It's a plug for a movie that doesn't exist yet. They haven't even shot it. So whatever. There is a particular genre. I think is it your turn, Dr.
Yes.
So for my number 3, there's a particular genre that I don't really like flock towards. It's it's one that I, for whatever reason, have not seen many movies in this genre. This movie, went and saw it in the theaters. There was a lot of buzz around it, and I really, really liked it. And that's Crazy Rich Asians. I really, really liked this movie. Came out in the summer of 2018. Apparently based on a book, which I don't read. So, I mean, I didn't know that. So it's apparently based on a book.
Read.
No, I definitely don't. Directed by John Chu, who really,
who just did In the Heights.
Yeah, he just did In the Heights. The only thing that I had seen that he had really done before is that G.I. Joe Retaliation, which not bad. Not a bad movie. If you of course, it's got
better
The Rock
than Snake
in it.
Eyes.
It's much better than Snake Eyes. That's not hard to do though. That's kind of the only thing I had seen him direct. He's directed a lot of things, but like Garrison said, his most recent thing is In the Heights, which a lot of people like. Wasn't really my thing, but a lot of people do like In the Heights.
No, that's good.
It did bomb at theaters. So
this was kind of a breakout for a lot of actors that are in the zeitgeist now. We just mentioned Snake Eyes. Henry Golding was kind of the breakout star of this film.
He's great in that film.
He is good in this film. Yeah, Constance Wu, who apparently is difficult to work with. There's been some stories about her being difficult to work with. Gemma Chan, who is in the Marvel family. She will be in Eternals.
2 different characters.
Yeah, 2 different characters, but she'll be in Eternals, and she's Minerva or that's who she played in the old movie. I can't remember.
She was in Captain Marvel, and she's going to be in Eternals. So
yeah, what was her character's name in Captain Marvel? Was it Minerva?
She was a Kree soldier,
or is that the new one?
Maybe that's the new one. I don't know.
Hold on, I'll let you know.
Yeah, and then obviously Michelle Yeoh, who we know her. She's been Awkwafina, which this was the first time I had personally seen anything with Awkwafina, and she's really good in it. And Ken Jeong, hilarious in this movie.
Yes.
Essentially it's like a contemporary romantic comedy. Girl who wouldn't necessarily be the type of woman that somebody of wealth would fall for. He falls for her. The same old. The story's been told millions of times.
Yes,
but it's done very well in this. I really, really enjoyed it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. When it comes to romantic comedies, it's not like I said, it's not a genre I flock towards. But I was pleased that I went and saw this movie. I'm hoping that I went and saw it by myself and not with a bunch of dudes, because that would have been weird. But it would be odd for me. Okay, good. I'm glad I saw this. I don't think David and I went and saw this together. That would be kind of weird. But I did enjoy the heck out of this movie. I take it both of you guys have seen Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes, I enjoyed it.
Yes,
and I've seen it once. I kind of vaguely remember some of the parts of it, but I remember enjoying it.
Yeah. There's apparently a sequel. There is a sequel book, so there's supposed to eventually be a sequel. I think everybody's schedule is just so crazy they haven't been able to work it out yet.
Henry Golding's going to be.
Yeah. I think.
After Snake Eyes.
I think he's going to be James Bond. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Well,
you think he's going to be James Bond?
The new front runner is the guy from Bridgerton. That's the new front runner.
Oh, I can see that. John Page.
Yeah, Renee Jean Page or whatever the guy's name.
I haven't seen him in anything.
So Henry Golding was the front runner for a long time until this Bridgerton thing happened and this kid blew up. So he's kind of like the other front runner. But here's my thing. Like, I don't mind either of those guys being Bond, but I think the Broccolis mind. And they're still in control of it. Even though Amazon now owns MGM, and
but they own the production company Eon,
they still have tight control over who will be cast as Bond.
They even have Amazon's basically the distribution company at this point.
Yeah, that's essentially.
But even the Broccolis have great control over that.
Yeah,
like they're very.
It'll be theatrical. It'll be a theatrical Amazon film, which that's not odd. I mean, Amazon doesn't care. They'll release it theatrically and have the rights to it. They don't necessarily care about that. But I think the Broccolis will probably keep it British white dude. I mean, that's probably what the Broccolis will do. I would think
James Bond, of course.
I think Henry Golding would be fantastic. I don't know this other guy, Renee Jean Page, but
I'm totally down for an old grizzled one-off with Idris Elba. But that's just me.
That'd be fun too. Like
while they continue to search for a younger guy, I'd be cool with that. But
that's kind of like, dude, Idris Elba's good.
Idris Elba would be good too. But here's the thing. I think with the Broccolis being in control of it still, it's going to be your standard British white dude, which, in that case, my number one pick,
the dude from Kingsman.
No, my number one pick's always been Dan Stevens, but he may have aged out of it now. I would always like Dan Stevens in everything. So I mean that's my number.
He'd be good.
But whatever. I don't get to make these decisions. So
he's my
Ryfin. I know. Ryfin.
Beyond all expectation.
My number 2 was my second favorite movie of 2017. My favorite movie of 2017 did not come out in the summer, so I sadly cannot talk about it.
Sorry.
It wasn't The Last Jedi, but it was another sci-fi movie. This movie, not a sci-fi movie, but done by one of my favorite directors. My friend who I told you we came over and watched Pop Star probably that summer with. We had so much fun. We also went to go see this movie on June 21st, 2017. That is Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan.
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie. To me, that movie, first off, it's just a good action movie. It's a good war movie.
Yes.
But it also does it in a really unique way where he tells it as a triptych. triptych, I think is how he said it, which is 3 storylines that come together and converge and meet at the same time. It's a really unique way of doing it, and it was another way for Chris Nolan to take a traditional story and work time into it, which he loves to do. I had a lot of fun in the theater, which was not sold out on Thursday night for that movie. I took my grandparents to see it later. They actually really loved it and followed it pretty decently. I was a little worried when you have that converging storyline thing. I was a little worried they wouldn't be able to follow it, but with the 1 month, week, day, whatever it is thing that he flashes up there, they were able to follow it okay. It is streaming on HBO Max.
Solid choice.
I remember what I was going to say now. This, to me, was kind of like the answer to a lot of Nolan's critics. At the time, critics said that his films were overwrought with exposition, which, we can get into Tenet later. I love that movie. I love Tenet. It's got a ton of exposition, but I still love it. But that most of his dialogue was filled with exposition, and he was too much of a tell don't show in certain aspects. And in this movie, he just wrote as little dialogue as possible. The script is like 90 pages, and it's just a master. It got to show off other aspects of Nolan that I think people didn't realize were there. Yes, and it's a fantastic summer movie as well.
Yes.
HBO Max again.
Dr. Earl. Your number
well, I know
2.
I'm going to take this. Is probably going to take this maybe from both your lists. You ready?
I know what you're going to. Yeah, go ahead.
You can still have it. We can talk about it together.
Okay. Do it.
I'm going to do it. June 28th, 2017.
Okay.
Edgar Wright's.
Yeah.
Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank goodness.
that was going to be my number 1. I may switch it up, or I might keep it my number 1. I haven't decided yet.
You can do it, baby. You can do it.
I'm going to get
Driver,
controversial after what Earl says.
What's that?
He's going to get controversial after what Earl says. Go ahead, Earl.
Oh wow. This film basically about a younger guy who sort of uses music, I guess, to sort of help him. He's a driver basically for this group of sort of thieves, and he works for a crime boss played by the controversial Kevin. Speaking of controversial, Kevin Spacey.
Yes.
He's a young getaway driver, and he sort of gets embroiled with this whole group of folks. Also starring John Hamm, John Bernthal. He's played. Baby is played by Ansel Elgort. Excellent soundtrack, excellent linking, and sort of a great scene where you see him moving to the motion and the beat. Just a really good sort of heist movie. There's a love interest played by Lily James that sort of gets in the middle of it. He's got to make some decisions about whether he's going to continue to follow these criminals or whether he's going to, start a new life, if I remember correctly. Great film. I can see now why Edgar Wright is sort of this touted director that everybody sort of celebrates. When Michael was saying, Edgar Wright was supposed to direct AntMan, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, well, what has he done? I don't know who that is, You
don't know. Wait, now you realize who we were talking about.
Well, now I realize who he is. Yeah. But at the time I just wasn't familiar. I wasn't familiar.
I understand.
Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead.
I saw Hot Fuzz. Yeah, that was fun.
At World's End. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But
the Coronado trilogy, if you will.
Shaun of the Dead, all that stuff. But
and then these got Last Night at Soho coming out.
Yes,
this year.
Is that the new one coming out? Okay,
yeah,
that's the one this year. Yeah.
So anyway, but great film, well shot, well done, a lot of great acting in it, and so it's my number 2. I know it's also on Michael's list.
Yeah, like I said, it's probably going to be my number 1, but I might switch it up just because we've already talked about it. But
okay,
what's your controversial? I need to know what his controversial statement is.
Garrison has a controversial.
As someone who spent a lot of my school years and time in music, played the trumpet. I really love a lot of music.
I play trumpet.
Yeah, awesome. It's the best instrument in my opinion.
Sure. It is. It's a good one.
There is a lot of impressive stuff in the film. I love the timing everything to the beat that Edgar Wright does, and I'm sure that must have been almost a nightmare to sync up in some aspects if you have certain actors who maybe aren't very rhythmic. I'm sure that wasn't super fun, but the end result is fantastic in that department. Outside of that, I gave the movie a 7 out of 10. I like it, but outside of that, I find it to be overrated in other aspects. I think that's the best part of the film, and the rest of it's kind of to me. And Ansel's fine, although if you want to talk about controversial things, he's controversial now.
Right. Like two of the main actors in this film are controversial now. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
And I know that they were setting up to do a sequel.
Not anymore.
Yeah. that's not happening
unless they don't use his character. But that would be
you
weird.
got two people you can't use anymore.
Right.
Which were the two of the main, they're the main characters.
Yeah, which were the two main characters. So he just needs to move on.
It just felt more like style over substance, and it was very good style. And so that's why it's still a 7 out of 10 for me personally. But I just didn't get really I didn't get really anything else out of it personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, listen, that's your opinion.
Yes. Yes.
That's just like your opinion, man.
So Mikey, what's your number
so my
2?
number 2, I mean, in general, when it comes to movies now, I mean, because I've seen so many, we've all seen so many, there's like 4 main things that I want out of a movie. Not necessarily at the same time, but I either want like dumb action brain candy I don't have to think about, or I want a comedy that actually makes me laugh, which doesn't happen often anymore because comedy writers just aren't great anymore when it comes to some of these movies. I want maybe like to actually get emotional, maybe like cry from the movie because it's just either so good or what's happening in the movie is just has heart. It's like so emotional. Or fourth, which this is something that I have enjoyed out of just a few films within the last like decade. I want to be completely shocked about like what I saw on screen. So my number 2, saw this in the theater. I was absolutely shocked by what I saw on screen, and that is Midsommar. Mm-hmm. I think Ari Aster. I think Ari Aster's Midsommar is what I would consider like a modern classic. Like it's shocking, but not like he's intentionally trying to shock you. It's within the plot of the film, so that sort of like works for me in the way at this Scandinavian festival that these college students find themselves at. It's kind of, as part of the plot of the film. He's not trying to be just like gory shock for whatever reason. I mean, it just works very well in this film. The version that I saw.
He's trying to shock.
Well, he's trying to shock, but also it's part of the story, though. Too. It's not just like a shock murder.
It's not jump scares.
It's not. Yeah. It's not a shock murder. It's not a jump scare. It's like part of the story of the film. So I think
like the old people with the hammers.
Exactly. Like
that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we don't want to. And I kind of don't want to spoil it because I think there's a lot of people that are either afraid to see the movie or think that they would just hate it and don't want to be challenged by it. I think that it's probably. I still am going to say that it's Florence Pugh's best performance. I think like. I really think that she runs the gamut in this movie. Like she is put through the ringer, and I think that she's really good in it. Like really, really good. Now, maybe not my favorite performance of hers, but I think it's like the best performance that I have seen her. I haven't seen Macbeth though, or Lady Macbeth or whatever that. I haven't seen that. And there's a couple others I haven't seen.
She did a show with the Korean guy, Park Chan-wook, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I know the series you're talking about, and I have not.
No, it isn't that. But anyway.
No, I know what you're talking. I have not seen that, but just to give you the plot, if you haven't actually seen the movie, and it's just like a high-level plot. A couple travels to Scandinavia to visit a rural hometown's fabled Swedish midsummer festival. What begins as an idyllic retreat quickly devolves into an increasingly violent and bizarre competition at the hands of a pagan cult. So yeah, it's very like think Wicker Man, but I think it delves into things even more shocking than Wicker Man does, obviously.
Well, and I like that it takes its time. Like it's
very, yeah. And I was
it
actually
plays off those aspects of like working with other American and other cultures.
Yeah.
How awkward it seems sometimes. And then it just keeps getting more awkward. And then it gets like,
then it turns into a horror film.
What are we doing? You know,
yeah,
like
so, and I was going to mention that because the version that I saw, which is the theatrical version, is 2 hours and 28 minutes long.
Yeah.
There is a director's cut that's 2 hours and 51 minutes long.
Yes.
I have not seen that yet, although I own it. This is the stupid, why do you own 4K Blu-rays when you don't have a 4K player? I'm that guy. I need to go buy a 4K player. I've got this. I've got the director's
cut. At least you got a 4K
cut.
TV.
I do have a 4K TV. I just haven't taken the step to get the player. But I do have the 4K version of the 2 hour and 51 minute director's cut, which they did actually play it here at the local art house theater sidewalk.
Extended cut? Wow.
They did play the extended cut the year it came out. Like I think it was like a year after the theatrical.
I'm not sure which one I saw. It seemed long.
Did you go to Sidewalk to see it?
It was probably the theatrical.
I was probably theatrical. No, I saw it on
because the theatrical still seems pretty long.
Yeah, so the theatricals, the director's cut is not available to stream. As far as I know, you have to buy it.
It was streaming somewhere, I think, but
okay. Well, it's like a special thing.
It may have been another country that I'm thinking of, but
yeah, they don't do it often. But I actually bought the version from A24 that is not cheap, but it's beautifully packaged. Like if you're a fan of the movie, I recommend getting that version because the packaging is beautiful. They've got a regular Blu-ray, or if you want to get the 4K, you can also. And I did get that 4K even though I don't have the player. I love this movie. I do. It's really, really good.
It's well made.
I was first introduced to Astor with this shock short film he did called like Keeping Up with the Joneses or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something to that effect. And it's like, it was shown around my high school because a bunch of these kids were like, it was a shock film.
Oh, okay.
So a bunch of these kids would make their friends watch it. And it was like, there's this son who was like, basically, he was raping his parents.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. And so that was not the best start for me for Astor.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I watched this movie, I remember I just had that in the back of my head. And I don't know, Astor's artsy style it doesn't work for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But I still
have you seen Hereditary yet?
But I haven't.
I know I see that too.
But I did enjoy this movie a lot more than I did that short film.
Oh, okay.
And maybe that was Florence Pugh, who gives a fantastic performance.
Yeah.
But
I think she's great in it. I mean, I think she has the potential to really, really. I think she got nominated for that, didn't she? For an Oscar? No, what did she get?
An Oscar.
I thought she got nominated for an Oscar for something. Maybe I'm thinking about somebody else. She was nominated. Little Women. Yeah. Yes. She was a nominee for Little Women.
Amy March or whatever.
Yeah. She was okay. You know what? She's really good in that too. But I think that this Midsummer, I think like she's like amazing in it. I mean, she's just a good actress all around.
The Academy they don't look at some of these things, artsy films and stuff.
Yeah, the horror films. Well, I mean, historically they've done. Like I think Exorcist was nominated. I mean, or maybe
that was a whole different generation.
Yeah, that was a different generation.
Historically, they did comedies for Best Picture and stuff like that.
That's true. Like back in the day, yeah, they would do that quite a bit. Well, I mean, Garrison, what is your number one?
Number one.
Oh man. Okay. This is what we've been leading up to. This is the summer of 2018. This, as I'll introduce it, is probably my favorite spy series running right now.
Yes.
I hope I'm not cue the music. David, cue the music.
He'll know exactly which music to cue.
That's right.
This summer of 2018 spent all my time rewatching all the movies in the series before I said the name of it. I even got my friend into it, the same friend I talked about the last three movies. I actually didn't mean to work that into this. He had not seen 3, 4, and 5, and leading up to the 6th movie, which is Mission Impossible Fallout.
Great movie.
We went to go see it together. Thursday night showing in the theater. Actually, a lot more packed than Dunkirk was, if I remember correctly. And
Sounds
I
right.
just had so much fun. This is my absolute favorite movie in that series. It really feels like almost every movie gets better. The first movie I adore. You have Tom Cruise as young Ethan Hunt. You work your way up to I don't really care for 3. J.J. Abrams did a good job of breathing life back into the franchise. And then Brad Bird just took it to another level. And now we've got Bakori, who has taken it to an even higher level. And
big time.
And has got 2 more sequels on the way.
Right.
Wow.
I love the cast of this film. You've got Cruise. You've got Henry Cavill, who is a fantastic actor in the film. I don't want to ruin anything. He's a fantastic actor in the film.
He's good in it. Yeah, he's good.
Yes.
You've got Rebecca Ferguson, who is a great addition, a female kind of Ethan Hunt. You've got Sean Harris, who's the first recurring villain of that series. He was in you have to watch Fallout, you have to watch Rogue Nation. And really, if you're following the series, you need to watch them all. Because this film actually calls back. It does a bunch of callbacks to like every iteration, including 2, which I don't care for, but I still like the callback.
Well, I've heard that the 7th one is going to have even more callbacks.
That's true. Really? Kittredge is in the film.
Kittredge,
from the first film. Michelle Monaghan makes a surprise reappearance in this film. Yeah. Vanessa Kirby gets introduced to this film.
Now Oscar-nominated Vanessa Kirby.
Yes. Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, of course. I love Benji. Maybe my favorite character in that series.
Yeah, he's great.
I could say a ton of things about this movie. Lorne Balfe, the composer, was brought on for this movie. This is his first movie in the Mission Impossible series. He's going to be doing the next 2, and he also did the score for Black Widow.
Really?
And that was a good score.
Yeah, and so I actually really have enjoyed his work, at least with this film. I really liked what he did with Fallout, so I'm excited to hear what he does with 7 and 8. And
what's his name again? Lorne Balfe?
Lorne Balfe, Balfe. I did not check to see where this was streaming, so I feel kind of bad about that, but it's probably Paramount Plus. I'm typing it in really quickly and misspelling it.
No, it's I don't know if they're out there actually.
Paramount Plus.
Really?
Yes.
I might have to watch these again before that 7th one comes out.
Oh yes, of course. And the 7th one is a 2-parter. It's going to be 7 and 8. And,
so they're actually going to treat it as a 2. So they're actually going to treat it as a 2-parter.
I don't know that it's a 2. It's shooting back to back, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 2-parter, and it's going to introduce. It's going to have all these cast of people we talked about before, probably minus Michelle Monaghan, and adding Haley Atwell. To the cast, and I am super excited about that. The future of that franchise is bright, and I almost don't think you can do better than Fallout, but I'm so excited to see 7 and 8.
Oh yeah, and I wonder if they'll bring the Jeremy Renner character back. I mean, they don't necessarily need to, but I wonder if they will. I mean,
it was weird because it seemed like he was going to be the guy who was going to be at the top of the IMF, and then I guess whatever happened with all that, I really don't know what happened, but he hasn't been back since then. So
yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen like 2, like the second one.
Well, the second one is such.
And I've been listening to a Mission Impossible podcast, so they've been talking about a lot of this stuff, and 2 was just first off, John Woo, of course, has a 3-hour cut that he really liked, and the studio didn't really care for and had him trim it down a ton.
Really? There's a 3-hour cut. Release the Woo cut.
Every director probably has that 3-hour cut.
No,
I know that there's an assembly cut, which is like 4 hours usually, and then a director's cut, and then a studio, what you release in theaters.
You know who probably doesn't is James Gunn, because they've just let him do what he wants.
That's true. That's true. James Gunn has a better sense of pacing than some directors. But,
yes, he does. He does.
The guy who wrote the film wrote it as like a remake of Notorious, which he tried to do with the first film, and I heard De Palma saying in an interview recently that he had to shut that down for the first film.
Interesting.
Which is funny because De Palma is also known for doing kind of Hitchcockian films.
Right. Yeah.
I guess he wanted to get away from that.
His most recent one is very Hitchcockian, with the guy from Game of Thrones is in it. Alexander Holder Walu, or whatever that guy's name is.
Walter
Nicole
Costow,
that guy, whatever his name is. Dude, De Palma, How old is he? He's got to be up there.
He's really old. He's writing books right now. So.
Yeah, the dude's still working.
He's still doing it. He's still working.
I appreciate it. Dr. Earl, you're number one, sir.
Yeah, my number one, I think, well, Garrison's already mentioned it, but I'm gonna stick with it. I'm not gonna change or deviate. Dunkirk, son.
Yes.
Dunkirk, man, just blew me away when I saw it. Like, I didn't think I wanted another World War II movie, but this one, when we saw it at the IMAX, it was so immersive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it puts you in the middle of the fight. I mean, the sound quality is amazing. I even saw it at the IMAX Dome for some reason. Me and Tommy went to.
You went to the McWayne Center to see it?
McWayne Center to see it. Well, that was the second time.
That would not be a
good experience. It was not a good way to watch it.
Yeah,
but,
that's not a good way to watch it.
I saw it at the standard one.
Yeah.
Some great performances from Mark Rylance.
Yes.
Tom Hardy.
I mean, he gets a good acting job out of the One Direction guy. I don't remember his name. Harry Styles.
Oh yeah, Harry Styles. Yeah.
Oh, Harry Styles. Yeah, he's good in that.
Look, I'll never forgive Mark Rylance for taking that Oscar from Sylvester Stallone. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Mark,
I'll never forgive him for BFG, but BFG.
The thing about Dunkirk, it is a film that if you guys know, you guys know of the Rewatchables podcast.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino specifically asked to do an episode on Dunkirk for
that
podcast. Not only maybe 2 years after the film was out, and they of course obliged because they were like, Quentin Tarantino wants to come on and do an episode about Dunkirk. Let's do it.
Wow.
It's a fantastic episode too. And it's just Tarantino gushing over what seems like probably his favorite Christopher Nolan movie, probably for that kind of Christopher Nolan, answering his detractors kind of thing. And
I think it was the best and most accessible.
Yeah.
Even though it was a lot of time dilation.
Yeah, there's a lot of time jumping. Yeah.
It's not a complicated sci-fi plot. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was just like a good sort, and it was telling the true story about the small boats initiative, and sort of celebrating sort of Britain's sort of ability to sort of snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, or whatever that saying.
It's a great story of an event that should have been much worse.
Yes.
And they luckily survived and ultimately won the war.
Yes.
With the U.S. coming in as well.
Yeah, with the help. Yeah, exactly.
There's that whole part of it. Yeah,
there's that whole part of it also.
But Churchill gives the famous speech at the end too that we hear.
Yes.
Never.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and Kenneth Branagh. I liked Kenneth Branagh a lot.
Oh yeah, Branagh was good in it. Absolutely.
I mean, Branagh is such a weird actor. I mean, like, he pops up from time to time, and sometimes he's like super good, and then sometimes like not great. Like, I thought that he was really
good in Tenet.
Yeah, I thought he was good in Tenet.
Yes.
Like, I was not expecting that particular performance out of him.
He's the over-the-top Russian spy villain.
Yes.
but good. That, like, well, I mean,
he kept it.
He did that in that dumb Jack Ryan movie, and it wasn't that great. The one with Chris Pine as Jack Ryan.
Direction matters.
Yeah, he plays like a Russian bad guy in that movie too, and it wasn't great. And so to see him in Tenet sort of like nail that role was really cool. I liked that. But we're talking about Dunkirk here, so yes. no Tenet.
No, well, it's curious. He's come under the sort of like, how
the tutelage.
Nolan. Well, Nolan likes to use certain players and over again. So it's interesting that I'd never thought about the fact that he was in Dunkirk and now he's in Tenet. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he does like to. No, you're right. He does like to keep. Well, I said my number one was going to be Baby Driver, but we've already talked about that. So this does give me a chance, and Garrison mentioned his name a second ago. Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that this is one of my favorite. What's funny about Tarantino is every time he releases a movie, I think, oh, this is my favorite Tarantino movie. Well, I mean, with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I really think that's my favorite Tarantino movie. I mean, it's just a culmination of a career. I know we're probably going to get maybe one or two more Tarantino movies.
One.
Well, he says that, but I don't know.
I feel the exact same way.
I don't know if I ever believe him, because can you really count Death Proof? I mean, and I don't know that he does, but can you? It wasn't really. It was part of a. I don't know.
Is he saying he's just going to do one?
Then I think he counts Kill Bill as one movie. Like both
See,
parts
and that's another
movie.
thing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, with Tarantino, for a Gen Xer like myself, we kind of like grew up with Tarantino. I mean, you know, he's been around since the early '90s with Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. It was like he was a very different type of filmmaker, and we hadn't really seen anything like him on the scene at that time.
Yes,
and so his evolution, you know, through the 9 films that he's directed, 9 times. I don't know, 9. Are we saying 9 if we count
He'll
one
say
as
9.
Let's say 9. Let's say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is his 9th film, and it's just fantastic. I mean, it's Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio together.
Yes.
It gave Brad Pitt his first acting Oscar, which was a big deal. I think he had won as a producer of something before, like 12 Years a Slave. He was one of the producers. So yeah, so he had that Oscar for 12 Years a Slave for Best Picture, I believe. But yeah, I mean, it gave him a chance to bounce off of DiCaprio, and DiCaprio, from what I understand about DiCaprio, he's like a really giving actor. You know what other actors will say, like he allows his co-stars to, he brings out the best in his co-stars because he's very forthcoming in the way that he acts. And so he's more about the ensemble. You know, he's like, he wants everybody to be at their A game. And I think this was Brad Pitt at his A game, because he's like a guy that I can give or take sometimes. I'm not like a huge Brad Pitt fan. I've enjoyed several of his performances throughout his career, but it's always like the weirder ones. Like I like 12 Monkeys a lot. Yeah. I like Seven a lot. And this falls into that camp, you know, not your typical like Brad Pitt type of performance. And then of course, like all the like cameos that were in this, and the story it tells, a, you know, canon adjacent. I love that, you know, as a Star Wars fan, you hear that term canon adjacent. This is kind of canon adjacent to the Marilyn Manson, or not Marilyn Manson. Oh my gosh, the Charles Manson story. And
the death of Sharon Tate.
And the death of Sharon Tate. Yeah. It tells that story through the point of view of whomever. I mean, you know, it's interesting. I like that, the way that he chose to do this story. And Fetmatic, I love that you have the 4K of this. I mean, it's probably great in 4K. I need to pick it up.
Oh, wow.
When this came out, this was the second Tarantino film I'd ever seen. I'd seen Pulp Fiction, and then I saw this. And I actually have to say that I enjoyed this a little more personally.
Okay. Yeah.
I like Pulp Fiction. I can get into an argument about that later, but my take on that a little bit later. But I really enjoyed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a lot. There were so many great films that came out that year.
Oh yeah, 2019 was strong. Yeah.
I put Parasite above that, and maybe another film above that in 2019. But but it was a really, really strong film.
It's a strong,
and I had a lot of fun with the alternate history at the end too. That was it was nice to not have it kind of come down on her just getting murdered in that moment.
Right.
Well, sorry.
and I really did appreciate DiCaprio's performance in it, because he was not the straight man in the film.
Yeah.
And for him to be willing to take that role versus the Brad Pitt role, which was sort of more of the straight man in the movie.
Yeah.
I liked his,
the protagonist, I guess.
Well, and when I say straight man, I mean like he's just really over the top and silly DiCaprio's character. I mean, just kind of just in that way. I mean, whereas Brad Pitt's sort of more low key, more, you know.
Yeah. And the movie spawned some great memes.
Yes, it did. Definitely did. Well, we did it. We did our top 5.
We did it.
We finished the summer movie series, but of course there is always what David calls them also-rans. So Ryfin, any that you want to mention that
honorable
you left out
mentions.
Of your top 5? Yeah, honorable mentions.
Yeah. First off, Spider-Man Homecoming. We talked about that a little bit. There are a lot of people who don't like that film as Spider-Man fans because of the connection between Tony Stark and Spider-Man. And I think the connection between Tony Stark and Spider-Man works better in that film than it does in the comics during Civil War, because at that point Spider-Man is 30, and it doesn't really make sense that he looks up to Iron Man as a father figure.
Yeah.
It makes much more sense in the MCU
as the kid.
It works better, and at the end of the movie, he does prove that he's more without the suit, and he does do he does an iconic comic panel scene where he lifts up the building above him. I have so much fun with that movie though, and I've rewatched it a lot over the years. I have Searching as well. Of the little
that's good.
That's good.
Of the little computer movies that they did, I watched Unfriended and stuff like that. Those were terrible.
Yeah.
Searching is actually really, really good. I'm sure it's on Stars right now because it was on Stars last I checked. But that's John Cho, I believe, in the lead role. And it takes place POV on this, a few computers actually of this family, where this father is looking for his daughter who has mysteriously disappeared. And that's all I'll say on that. Inside Out, I have on here as well. I really enjoyed that. Summer of 2015, Pixar. We saw that a few times that summer.
Man, that's a good call. I must have just passed over that.
Yep. I think it was May, late May. Yeah. Something like that. Ready or Not, I had a lot of fun with.
Yes.
The directors of those films are going on to do the directors of those films. Sorry, Jacob said something in the comments for the podcast feed. The directors of those films are going on to do Scream in 2022. That's coming out in January. The picture's already locked. They have announced that. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Scream. In fact, I watched all the Scream movies this year because of that. Christopher Robin is the last on this traditional list. I had a lot of fun with Christopher Robin. You have Obi-Wan Kenobi in the lead role.
Yeah.
That Christopher Robin.
Playing an older Christopher Robin who kind of, it's the kind of the tropey, kind of grouchy, he doesn't believe in the magic kind of thing. And then, of course, he comes around. But it's a lot of fun, and it has a lot of heart. It's on Disney+. The other two films I'm going to include on this list, my Also Rans list, is Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Because these films can't make...
They're not in
What's happening?
Let me.
What?
Go ahead.
Can I make my argument?
Oh, it came out in the summer.
No, it didn't.
In Timbuktu.
These are not
exactly.
These are, well, God, this is an Also Rans list, guys.
Okay, go ahead.
Honorable mention list.
Go ahead.
Look, these films came out in what is the expanded summer that has happened since about 2008 with Iron Man, which came out in May.
Yeah, the new summer, if you will.
That's fair. That's fair.
And to me, my summer is the first week in May. When I'm in college, it's the first week of May. I was in college for both these movies. I would get out. Now, these movies both got pushed back a week into the last week in April. So that does hurt that argument a tiny bit. But they're still kind of summer movies to me. I saw them in the summer as well afterwards. And they're a lot of fun. Obviously, most people have seen them.
They certainly remained.
They
certainly remained in theaters into the traditional summer months.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! All right, Dr. Earl, honorable mentions.
Yeah, I'll be quick because honestly, I think you guys have mentioned all of these. I had Dope, 2015's Dope.
Yep.
AntMan, the original AntMan, Wonder Woman, 2017. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
The first one. Spider-Man Homecoming, Garrison talked about. MI Fallout, Mission Impossible Fallout. Operation Finale I had for 2018. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So you guys hit you clanged all my bells. That's great.
We got some solid lists.
Yeah. Mike, what about you?
Oh, I've got some great honorable mentions, actually. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I had a lot of fun with that. I think Henry Cavill was really good in that. Sadly, Armie Hammer has lost his ever-loving mind, so we will probably never get to see the sequel that was discussed for a while. It is what it is, but I had a lot of fun with that movie. Star Trek Beyond, because I think the Bad Robot Star Trek films were really good. They were certainly not your traditional Star Trek films. They were more action oriented. The joke is they're the Star Wars version of Star Wars or Star Trek films. That's, everybody wants to make that joke, but as I understand it, that was probably not the last Bad Robot Star Trek film. I think that Bad Robot is going to be involved in the fourth one in some way. Yeah, because they still have there's still an agreement there between Bad Robot and I guess now it's Viacom CBS. I don't know who owns. That's the very confusing thing about the Star Trek universe is there's the Viacom CBS version, there's the Paramount. But I think Bad Robot is producing the fourth one that is coming out eventually. But yeah, I at least wanted to throw it out there because I think that there's some merit to that trilogy. I think that cast, who we might not get to see again, I liked Chris Pine as Captain Kirk quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, I mean
that first one really blew me away. Was that 2000?
2009. Yeah, really good.
That one.
I love the 09 one as well.
Yeah, the 09 one's really good. I want to mention Pete's Dragon. It is probably my favorite. Yeah, David Lowery, who just did The Green Knight, which is a huge movie right now, at least, for the indie fans out there. Jacob just saw it, which I cannot wait to see it personally myself. But if you have slept on Pete's Dragon, you need to watch Pete's Dragon. It's not a straight up remake. Yeah. So it's not, but it's also not like Christopher Robin, which is like a new story. Pete's Dragon, they let Lowery have. It tells a very similar story to the original Pete's Dragon, but in a different way. And I liked it. I liked it. It's good. Bryce Dallas Howard, Robert Redford, the kid in it's really good too. And there's a lot of heart in that movie. I mentioned earlier the four things, that I love to get out of certain movie. I mean, there's a lot of heart in Pete's Dragon, and David Lowery is just one of those directors that can bring those performances out of his actors. And I really look forward to watching The Green Knight. I just am so.
Yes, and Jacob, we will discuss The Green Knight
at Reflections, I guess. I mean,
I agree with you. It's bizarre, and I will help.
You will help.
The pretentious corner, we will unpack it.
I'm going to keep going because I think that there's also merit to Matt Reeves' Planet of the Apes movies. War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes, I totally have that. Why did I not include that?
Fantastic movie.
Yes, that whole trilogy is awesome.
That whole trilogy that Matt Reeves was able to do is awesome, and that doesn't happen much where a director gets to work on the whole trilogy of these blockbusters. That just doesn't happen that often. And
I think he only did the last two.
Oh, you're right. He didn't do the first one. You're exactly right.
But they're all great. And the last one might be the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all really, really good. A couple others I want to mention. Logan Lucky, really fun Soderbergh movie. Adam Driver is hilarious in that movie. Daniel Craig is hilarious in that movie. It's just a fun comedy that I had a lot of fun with. Let's see.
It's part of the Daniel Craig does a bad fake Southern accent.
Bad fake Southern accent. Yeah. For your typical stupid summer movie, The Meg is up there as your typical. Stupid. Yeah, stupid southern or stupid summer movie, The Meg. Yes. It's fun. A smaller film that I had a lot of fun with, and this will be the last one that I mention, is Yesterday. Really fun premise. Oh. Everybody forgets.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. Everybody forgets, or everybody doesn't know who the Beatles. Not that they forget, but everybody doesn't know who the Beatles are. So this guy is, acting as if he wrote all these Beatles songs. And as a fan of that music, that's a fun movie.
One of my favorite scenes of that is when he's doing the competition with Ed Sheeran to write a song in like 3 minutes or whatever.
Yes,
he comes out with a Beatles song.
I'm with you on that. So, man, it has been a fantastic episode. It's been a fantastic summer going through all of these summer films. 2015 through 2019, I said it earlier in the episode, strong contender for me. The 80s were great, but 2015 through 2019 some good 5 years of summer movies. I mean, we had even the honorable mentions we talked about could have been in a top. Yeah, could have been in a top 5. So I thought it was a great year. We will wrap it up now. Then check us out. The website is the most important thing right now for us. Thedeucecast.com is pretty much where our home is right now. You can go see, check out the old episodes on there. The new episodes obviously drop on any of your podcatchers, but if you're on a desktop and you just want a quick way to listen to the episode, you can do that through thedeucecast.com. Email us also. Email us your top 5 summer movies, and that way we can talk about it on our next episode, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, maybe we can just if you actually email us.
At the
thedeucecast@gmail.com. If you email us and you give us your top 5 summer movies of this 5-year block or any summer movies, we'll of course talk about it. And then, of course, I've got the premise that if you do email us and you give me your address, I will mail you some swag. And Charlie, I know you're probably listening to this. I understand I owe you some swag. I will be sending you some swag soon, my friend. I promise. Charlie just moved. If you're part of the Deucecast Discord, you can find out this fun information from our listeners that are a part of that. That Charlie just moved into a new house. He's got a new address. I've got that address. I will be mailing you swag. I promise, sir. That will be coming. And that's another thing. If you want to be a part of the Deucecast Discord, which we have a lot of board. Oh, thanks, Garrison.
I wasn't
even. Dave wasn't here, so I wasn't even gonna make that happen. But that's good.
I stole it from Jacob.
Even Jacob did it in the chat.
Yeah, I stole it from Jacob.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Roth. DM me. I'm kind of keep it like a private Discord group. But just DM either at the Deucecast on Twitter or at the Michael Nip on Twitter. And I will, of course, send you the link to the Discord if you so please. Garrison, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at SUPASH3, on Letterboxd at GRyphon. I'm also on the Deucecast Discord. And on Tuesday nights, you can catch this crew on YouTube, for the Deucecast Extra starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9 if you're in Mikey's time, but
that's right.
I prefer to go by Eastern Standard Time. So
it's fine. It's not a good time zone, but okay.
It honestly isn't for Disney Plus releases.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Oh man, and I am so ready to talk about that episode on Tuesday. It was so good.
Man.
Yeah. Anyways, no, we're not here for that.
That's not what we're doing.
That's what Extra is all about. Dr. Earl, we know you are mostly off the grid, but from time to time,
on Discord sometimes.
Yeah, from time to time,
pop in from time to time.
There's a whole channel dedicated to him.
A pretentious corner.
His own pretentious corner. Which, man, I would look for as far as my most pretentious movie that I popped in my 5 out of 5. Pig is an awesome movie.
I saw that.
Nicolas Cage.
5 monocles out of 5 monocles.
I mean, I didn't do the monocle thing, but it is my favorite.
So you really liked Pig, okay?
Oh man, it's my number 1 of the year so far. I mean, I was blown away by that movie. I'm probably overhyping it, but look, it's at 97% or maybe 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
So is the Suicide Squad.
This is true.
I think.
Yeah. So, Pig is not for everybody, but as a Nicolas Cage completist and a huge Nicolas Cage fan, it's by far his best role since probably Leaving Las Vegas.
Wow. So this might even be Oscar potential.
Probably not.
Oh, come on, dude. I don't know.
You have to buy an Oscar, basically.
Well, this is true. Yeah, and I don't know if Neon is willing to put up the money that it takes.
And Neon did it for Parasite, but yeah, but also they had a lot of goodwill. A lot of people liked Bong. They liked Song.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah, and that's true. I mean, because this is like this particular director's first feature. I don't think this guy's he's done a lot of short films.
But I'm saying if Cage does a great job,
he could be a Ducey winner.
I mean, I'm not going to call my shot on that, but I'm going to do everything I can to possibly make that happen.
There's a lot of movies left to be made.
I know. No, we've got. Look, we're barely even through the year. Which I mean, I'm at 330 films right now. I only have 35 left.
Oh my gosh.
I
need
am
to take a break.
No, I'm definitely going to make my August 31st goal. I have figured out a way to do that. So I'm definitely going to do that. And I will have the fall saved for college football, NFL, and a bunch of TV shows.
There you go.
Because I'll obviously
And
see
new
the new
movies.
and the new movie. Yeah, I'm obviously going to see the new films, but I'm probably going to take a break on older stuff for quite a while. I have enjoyed watching these older films throughout this whole journey to 365, but I'm going to take a really big break come September, and I'm looking forward to that break. But guys, this has been fun. This was the Deucecast Extra takeover of the Deucecast movie show. It's been fun. I'm glad we got to go live. I know we didn't have a ton of interaction, but Roth came in on the end, so we really had Roth, Fetmatic.
We had several.
We had
Rhett at the beginning.
We had Brian. So the normal Deucecast Extra crew was here to support the Deucecast movie show, and so it made it really fun. We will be back next week. I have no idea what our subject matter will be for next week. We're still discussing that behind the scenes, but I really loved doing this summer series. It was a lot of fun for me, and I hope it was a lot of fun for the listeners. Fetmatic, you're the man, sir. You're the man now, dog. There's a little Just Cause reference. Is that what that's from? No. What is that? Finding Forrester. That's what that's
Finding Forrester.
Finding Forrester. So anyways, we will be back next week. I don't know how Dave ends these things. I'm not good at ending these podcast episodes because in all honesty,
he says
I don't
like
want
rap or that's a rap or something.
Is that what he says?
Well, why don't you close it the classic way about
man.
Weekly.
This has been your weekly.
Okay.
Do the classic ending,
I haven't
Michael,
done this
from
in a
the
while.
old days.
This has been your weekly deuce.